Yeah, buddy.
No sound.
No sound.
I got no sound. I can't
Welcome.
say. I can't hear anything.
Ben can hear
I got
us?
no sound.
Still no sound.
Why do I got no
When you
sound?
make noise, chirp
Can you
like a
hear me?
bird.
Thumbs up, thumbs down if you can hear me.
I can hear you fine.
Yeah.
This is our chat here, so
There we go.
Let's
All
go
better?
in the chat here.
Good.
Volume. All right, we're good.
All right. How you guys doing?
Good.
I'm all right. Yep.
So,
All
I have
good.
some terrible news.
What's the matter,
shit.
bud?
And I really dropped the ball. And
How?
that last call you guys had, for some reason, did not get uploaded.
Huh.
I don't know what
It's not
happened.
that we can
I
stop
have
talking.
no
We'll
way to
keep
look at
talking.
it or see.
It's all good. It's all good.
We've been doing this
But
for
you know
years
what the
without
issue
anybody
was, though?
recording it.
You know what I'm saying?
I don't know. No, like you were in the
For
studio.
me, on my side, it said, all done, uploading complete, blah, 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 on my side.
So
On the
maybe
screen,
it's
so I
something
don't
we
know.
could find later down the road. I have to probably talk to somebody at Riverside. I'm sure they'll
So,
help us out to try to
I mean,
find it.
should we solve it before we move forward versus
No, I think
doing
we're
it
good. I mean,
again?
it kind of changes the scheme of things. Maybe we don't have to do 2 hours. So maybe if you guys just want to go ahead and do your thing.
No, my concern is what if we do it again and then again it gets lost? That's my concern. Should we
I think
find out what the
for
problem is?
whatever reason, me leaving the call, and other apps, I don't know why it would have like anything to do with it. But I mean, I would approximate it to because I didn't stay in the call. Something
Because it's saying,
happened.
like,
It could be a software bug. I don't see it on my end anywhere. And so if you guys have links that say to upload, if you still have that,
it
somewhere you
shows
could
me
send
right
that.
now. It says 99% uploading, 98 like right
Well,
at
that's
the top.
current. That's for this current stream.
Okay.
Yeah, that's for me. It
for
says
this one.
99% too.
But yeah, I
So
won't worry
at
too
least we
much.
know
Like I
that
said,
this is up.
it's some spilt milk, yeah.
I got you.
But
It's
we're
all
here
good, man.
and we're ready,
Whatever.
and so
Yeah,
I
it
kind
doesn't
of went
matter. I
over
mean,
Podbean with
yeah.
I kind of went over Podbean in person with Ben. Rich, I don't know if you're interested. If you are, we can go over that. Otherwise, we're ready to just dive in. You guys
What's
can just
that mean?
hit it.
What's
And
Podbean?
so Podbean is going to be our distributor to start. He's the one that's going to put the shows on Spotify and Apple Music and all those things. And it comes with a little web page. So that logo we're designing, the theme and concept script for the show will all go in Podbean. You'll get a personal website. And maybe I can share my screen with you guys and I can just go there real quick.
Sure.
Yeah. So that's basically where the public would go to access this, right? To get information other than their own
they
personal
go wherever, whatever they use, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I use Apple. That's how I stream
You
all
guys
my
see
stuff.
my screen now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, I
What's
see it.
that?
I see it.
Okay.
Yep.
What do you use, Rich?
I use just the app that lives on the Apple iPhone, that iPod app.
Yeah. So that's Apple. So you know, and this does all of that. and so let's see if we got just I don't know what these are. These are so these are all podcasts that are distributed through Podbean. And so you get little websites on here. So this website is all hosted through Podbean. So if somebody's listening to your talk in Spotify or Apple Music or whatever, they can click on it. It'll bring them here. And so like where it says teaser trailer and all this, these would be the episodes. And then within the episode, we can do transcripts. I'm not sure if I mentioned the transcripts to you, Rich.
Mm-mm.
But we get transcripts of these shows. It's one of the benefits of this software package that we're using.
Okay.
It even has the AI built in where it picks out the best moments. It creates clips. And so all this stuff will get dropped into this little website on Podbean. And from Podbean, it'll go out to all the places, to Spotify, Apple Music, and wherever people are listening from.
Do we have to, at some point, I mean, this stuff can't all be free, is it? I mean, is there, do we have to start investing in something?
No. Yeah, so I mean, we'll get it set up, and you guys can listen to it. It'll give Podbean, it'll give us enough to put up like 1 or 2 shows.
Okay.
And so we can see it, and we
like
can see how we feel about it. And
right, Delic, it's like $9
a
month.
It's like $9 a month. So for like this application and Podbean, it'll be in for like $500 a year.
That's not bad.
And this is basically all we need to run the whole thing and get it out there
per year. Very $500 per year.
Per year, and that's reasonable. Fine. You know, I pay that much money for applications, for like, you know, software that I never even did anything productive with in the terms of, you know,
absolutely,
completely,
or whatever. So yeah,
sounds good.
Cool.
So I'm pretty clear. Are you clear, Rich, as to what the?
I'm clear.
You know, are you good with all that?
Yeah. Yeah, it goes up there, and then it's out in cyberspace then, and then we see who picks it up.
Yeah,
right?
That's exactly. Yeah, and are you at Mars? In addition to that,
what's that?
What is it?
Are you at Mars? No, I was asking Delic if you're at Mars. I'm looking behind you. You've got pallet racks behind you.
No,
are you on Mars?
No, I'm at Venus.
At Venus? Gotcha.
No, I'm at Venus. Yeah.
What the hell are you guys talking
everything
about?
Everything in our world, Rich, is named after some sci-fi novel or
some planetary
nice.
shit. Mars is that college in the middle of the desert. Remember, we were looking at it last time. That's we call that Mars. That's like just that. And there's another place in town,
center of gravity
called Venus.
Yeah, I had to come get Wi-Fi. My internet was bad where I'm at, so I had to come grab some Wi-Fi.
Okay.
I just saw the magic Wi-Fi for the first time. I was up on Gamelands, and I got to see that string of satellites light up for the first time going over. We have so much light pollution. I never get to see it. So.
Yeah. They just had some crazy meteor shower out here, but it was so late at night I missed it. But yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, so you guys are this will be actually officially episode 1.
Very good.
Okay.
You guys do your thing.
You wanna stop and restart? Or are you gonna cut it, or how you gonna
I'll cut it. I'll edit it. I'll edit it.
Because Ben's video, I don't know if that matters, but it looks very blurry.
Your guys' video is pretty shitty. Yes. And so is yours to me.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Yeah, mine as well. Your video, Rich, is a little bit pixelated.
On the video.
Yeah, yours looks pixelated.
Maybe do you know, depending on where it goes. I mean, there's no reason not to put this video cast on YouTube as an episode 2. And so that's something we'll do when we drop episode 1, create a YouTube channel, and we'll put the videos out on YouTube if you guys want to do the video as well. Because, you know, it adds more to
or
it.
Little clips. Or little clips. Yeah.
Just put the whole thing out. You just put the whole thing out. That way, when you guys are sharing your screen and everything, you know, if people really want to tune in, see what's going on, see how you're feeling, they can relate.
I just got to keep... I got to keep all my bench tools out of here then for YouTube.
No, you're fine. You know, like, I mean, unless you're going to hit the camera with them or something.
No.
Yeah.
Nope.
I think probably it would be a good idea maybe to get a pairing set of mics as well.
Okay.
Just so we can maintain microphones. So I'll look into some. I think the headphones work great. Obviously, I think I broke my headphones, so I don't have them on right now.
Okay.
But I think that you know, the headphones and whatever you want to do for headphones, that's up to you. But I think for the microphones, even though we do have some good in our laptops, I think it would solidify. It would be best all around. Especially, I mean, you guys seem really complete in the endeavor, and we're going to continue to move forward. So I said we go ahead and get the mic. So I'll look something up there, and we can get in the group chat about it on the phone and see, or we could just do another one of these, or it would kick it off and talk about them on the next episode. In the beginning. All right.
Alrighty.
Yeah. Okay. All right, gentlemen. Good seeing
you later.
I'm gonna be quiet and hang out and yeah, just let me know. I probably peeked in.
You're gonna keep your video on? Are you gonna keep your video?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have to. It's all like I said. Everything is stemmed out.
Understood. I'm just saying for my benefit. I mean, I know you're there, but just turn your video off. There we go.
All right, guys. Yeah.
I'll see you in a little bit.
If I could figure it out. Here we go. All right.
Dope.
Hello, Ben.
Dope. What's up? What's up, bro? How you doing? Any thoughts since our last conversation? Yeah.
Oh, a lot of stuff going on since our last conversation. A lot of worldly stuff going on.
Especially today, man. Especially today, that whole thing about the 3 hostages being shot, dude. That's like got the stuff of movies written all over it. You heard about that whole 3 hostages that got shot?
Yeah, I've been watching news clips all day to try to figure out what in God's name went on there. And it's.
What do you think? What is your take?
I don't know.
No, but what is your opinion? I know you don't know. You're fucking right here with me. You have no idea any more than I do. But what do you think? What do you think happened?
Well, one side of me says you could have some overzealous soldiers that just misbehaved horribly and didn't pay attention to Geneva Convention and the rules of engagement and opened fire on somebody with their shirts off under a white flag, right? And that would be a heinous war crime. Right. Obviously, that's individual soldiers acting, or it's the propaganda machine pumping like crazy. What was going on that battlefield?
In what way?
Like what?
Whatever was going on. I mean, regardless. But
I'd like to know what kind of engagement.
The facts are clear. Gotcha.
No, they're not.
Understood.
They're not.
Understood. Like what else was going on? Like what were they involved in?
I'm wondering on what kind of engagement was going on because I've in my military career I was always stateside, right? I was a rear detachment guy for one deployment. I never got overseas, but I processed a lot of information. I talked to a lot of people, and I know that some of the guerrilla tactics involve people appearing to surrender and then reversing on that. A lot of things where people would embed themselves in civilian populations and then dip back into the crowd and hide amongst the men and women that were in the crowd because they knew that soldiers would open fire and retaliation.
Standard for guerrilla warfare.
It's guerrilla warfare.
It's total,
So
it's standard.
Still, we need to know. I need to know the whole scenario. Was it open combat or was it an open field where these guys were just surrendering? If people were just surrendering
during Gaza, there's still open combat. It's fucking the ultimate in urban combat there. Ultimate. I can only imagine what these guys are going through. The panic in that person's eyes.
I can't imagine.
I can only fucking imagine.
On both.
But at the same time, here's the other side. I would say the first thing that came to my mind, right? The first thing, it's open season on Palestinians. There's no consequence. There's no fucking consequence whatsoever. Who's going to say, hey, you shot a fucking Palestinian? Who's going to say anything? I honestly think that they shot them.
And that would be a sin.
And then it turned out to
be. In my opinion, that's an absolute sin. If you,
it's like looking at the transition of events.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Right. Looking at the whole totality of the situation, it's the actual IDF soldiers. Right. They were coming from a place of safety. They were looking and they're like waving flag. I don't care what the other scenario is. They don't pose any threat to you. They don't pose any threat to you. I don't care what the rest of they themselves. How so? Tell me.
Explain. Some of these
how
guys,
could they be a threat from far away?
I had my one commander was stationed in Afghanistan dealing with the Taliban for a little bit, right?
Right.
And he had a Unabomber. Sorry. It was technically a vehicle-borne IED because it was It was on a bicycle. The guy had it up his ass.
Right.
And he blew it at the gate. So shirts off, white flag up in the air could be
that doesn't
anything.
Matter. You're right.
I had another friend that was killed because, and there was, we need the totality of everything that was going on in front of them. They give us this shock announcement, and people are either going to be, like you're saying, they're F the Palestinians, it's open season, and the other side is going to say, it's an atrocity committed by the Israelis. Because none of this vile hatred on both sides is making this go any better. Both sides are just feeding into this hatred. Not the Jews. I won't say that because I, knowing you for as long as I've known, I've never heard you say that once. I've heard people from the Palestinian side say the Zionists. And in my personal life experience, I know that there's a complete separation between a Jewish person and a Zionist in the opinion of people from the Arab part of the world.
I'm one of those people.
And I know that. I know that. Raid was 100% that way. Right. And I understand it. And I fully acknowledge that.
And people want to conflate
there's a big difference in opinion.
People want to Jews and Israelis and Jews are two different things.
Right.
Even Jews and Israeli Jews are different because the Israeli Jews are assumed that they're Zionists because why else would you be in Israel?
But they're not all Zionists.
But by default, I would like to ask your opinion on that. By default, aren't they by default that way? Just by the fact of them being in that land or owning property in the West Bank or being a settler, aren't you by definition a Zionist?
That's a tough one. I guess by letter of the definition,
and
you
would knowingly. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. And you're knowingly going there, right? Knowingly, based on the belief that this is for whatever reason you belong there, right? That you should be there, even though the international says you shouldn't be there.
To my eye,
yes.
To my eye, right? I always have a sympathetic leaning towards Israel. I always have, because being growing up with my grandfather, and he was there in Germany. And to this day, the Jewish people are being discriminated against.
Dude, it sucks.
Everywhere.
Fuck everywhere. Yeah. Oh, everywhere. Hell yeah.
And so I understand their desire.
So many times they've been ousted. Yeah, a home.
Yeah.
A safe haven.
Right? So
this is the place that's what it's supposed to be. Yeah.
So how do they get to a place where the Palestinians accept a two-state solution? Because it doesn't seem like they ever actually want that.
There is no two-state solution. There is no two-state solution.
There's no way to cut it in half and create a country known as Palestine?
No, because initially, if you look at all the charters, or everyone who says anything, from the river to the sea, there is no room for Israel in there. That's it.
Why?
And this is why everyone, it just is no. There's like economically.
But there was never There was never a Palestine. There was never a Palestinian nation. Ever.
There never is. There isn't even now. Yeah, there even isn't a Palestine now. It's just a concept. And of course,
you had Jews and you had religious Muslims occupying that land forever, side by side.
Everyone was living together.
Right, correct.
You had everyone living together.
How do we get them to that point?
That's the thing. The moment that the Zionists came in, the moment that those guys came in, this is my land. Ownership. We had a bit of it today. Oh, God bless, man. The person listening right now can understand what I'm talking about. The ownership that comes into the situation and screws everything up. Right? That's where the problem is. Everyone was living happily. Everyone was good. Look at the footage. Look, I've gone back to the 1940s and looked at documentary footage to try to understand how things work. Right? And they were honestly living peacefully together for thousands of years. Right? Ever since Islam came by, it's like, look, Jews were there first. Jews existed. Judaism existed before Islam existed. That's as simple as fact.
Well,
right? So it's Abraham, like they were living together.
And Ishmael. Yeah, you had Abraham and Ishmael, and Sarah became pregnant, and you had the the Israeli nation born from Sarah, and Islam was born from Ishmael. Yeah. So they have common roots, right? So, it's common roots. And they're both acknowledged in each other's
but
book.
a little bit further apart in history. Common roots, absolutely. They all have common roots, but a little bit further apart in history. Yeah. Right? And so I think that's where the problem came. That's where the problem came. When Balfour stuck his nose in and said, look, we're going to carve this little piece of land and give it to the Jews. That's where the problem started. It wasn't his land first and foremost, right? And everyone was doing fine. Jews were living together with Muslims, but then all of a sudden this land became mine, and they started influx of people coming in and disrupted the whole balance of things. Right?
And
the
I
whole
can
balance
see,
of it. And I'm not saying that they don't. Yes.
I can see that the desire of the Jewish people to form a nation so that they could defend themselves. I
understand that, man.
Right?
Of course I understand that. Of course. You know, the fundamental question, does Israel have a right to exist? How many times have we heard that? What do you think?
Yeah.
What do you want to know what I think?
Of
course Israel has the right to exist. Of course it has.
Right.
Anyone and everything. So does Palestine has the right to exist. So does Israel. Of course, the Jews need a home. They deserve a home and deserve to live in peace. Just not in someone else's backyard.
So where do they go?
That's it. I don't know. They were looking at Uganda for a while.
But Uganda
They were looking at Uganda.
It's a horrible place.
What?
It's a horrible place.
Horrible or not horrible, it's not any worse than the desert that they, quote unquote, flourished.
But look what they turned the desert into.
Which is it. Yeah,
they made that desert amazing. So they have to start all over.
To Uganda. Well, look,
I have an issue understanding why.
I'm not saying that. You know what my solution to it is? You know what? But you want to know what my solution is? One state. One state. They live together.
Equality.
They live equality.
Yeah.
One law.
I'm with you there.
One nation. One.
And not a theocracy.
That's it.
On either side.
And not a theocracy. Not Israel. Not Palestine. Not according to everyone practices their own fucking religion like it was before.
Right.
Do your thing.
I agree with you there. That would be the perfect solution.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's it. And
not a theocracy.
This whole two-state solution that they're going after, right? Because as long as there's an Israel, right, and Israel is the government of it is religious based, right?
Yeah.
It will not be a democracy.
Oh, it really truly is more secular than anything now, right? I mean, they don't hold a lot of ties to their religious past.
Well,
any more than
only when it comes to Palestinians, I guess. Any more than the Palestinians. But no, that's a whole quagmire, bro. That's the whole
the same
situation
could be said in it.
The humanity, right? And both sides equally. I mean, the Jews don't want to live with the Palestinians. The Palestinians don't want to live with the Jews. It's not that one side is the bad or whatever. No. You know, it's just.
And we had a very unique experience in our life to know somebody that was Palestinian from Israel as long as we did. Right? I mean, most people don't get to experience. You think of how many of our brothers are Jewish. In fact, the girl that I was dating was Jewish, and I used to come and that's who he chose to hang out with all the time. Right? So there was not a splinter of prejudice or bigotry at all. At all.
I know.
I don't have one memory of him saying a bad thing about any human being. Ever.
Me neither.
Ever. He was a gentle soul.
I kind of connected with him because we were from the same part of the world, and he was my little brother and all that, so I was like, kind of. But gentlest human being ever. But at the same time, I could sort of see that in craziness in him, right? That what I would call today, if he was alive today in Palestine, I would call that he would be a resistance. He would. I saw that in him. right?
He was a defender,
in that way,
is
and
what
we
I
spoke
saw.
about that.
Yeah.
He
was very
cared
defensive.
for his people, man. He was just like, and he's not any different than you, Richard. Not any different than you, man.
No, I related to him very well. Yeah, we were very similar.
Yeah. So man, it's we point fingers all the time, and the truth of the matter is that the fault lays as much with us as the other person. When it comes down to conduct, when it comes down to walking the right path, setting the right example, how many people can say that? How many people can say that? And we were talking about this last time, the me, right? The me, the culture of me, the everything about me, and more so this generation coming up. It's sort of embedded here, right, into its government system, into its social system, but it's more so becoming a part of the psyche of this next generation that they're not even aware of the outside.
No, they're very they're internally isolated. You look at their interactions.
Yeah.
These things.
Yeah.
These things are. They'll sit and they'll sit across the table with 4 kids, and they're all buried in their phone. They might even be texting each other across the table rather than engaging and talking. And it's deepening that divide between people. Yeah. I think.
I mean, and it's part of it's what it is. Like it's. I'm sure people said the same thing about the phone when it all came. Oh, he spent a lot of time on the phone. You know what I'm saying? Said the same exact fucking thing. So. But we're dealing with it and managing it, right, to some extent. And I'm wondering about that side of things, how that can be mitigated so that it becomes something that is not a disruptor but an addition, right? Like when to turn your phone off, right? You've had your phone so long that okay, I'm going to bed. I'm going to turn my phone off because I don't want anyone calling me. Right.
It's my alarm clock. I have it set on sleep focus, right? It's embedded in me. It's part of my brain now, right?
Yeah.
You know what? One negative effect with the stuff we're seeing with this war and the images we're seeing, right? You think what the people saw, World War II, Korea, Vietnam, they saw images. World War II, they saw maybe a 10-minute blip before they saw a movie when they went to a matinee, right? And it was a grainy film. These kids are seeing people die in real time, and they're continuing on their day. They're not affected. People used to see something like that and be disturbed. They would cry. They'd become emotional at the thought.
I still don't. I still don't, guys. I don't see it. I close my eyes or I don't watch or whatever. Yeah, you don't want that shit in your mind. But
I'm desensitized to it. I'm desensitized to it. I was.
That and porn.
That and sex, 100%. It doesn't mean the connection between two human beings doesn't mean to these kids what it meant, right? We were young men, we soda oats, whatever you want to call it. It wasn't anything in comparison. What's the norm for today? They use terms like a body count, right? You hear young girls talking about their body count.
Yeah,
this is all
I've heard that
people
term.
becoming desensitized to other human beings and the impact that they have on another person, right? I think that's why we're seeing these heinous acts in these other countries. There's no regulations in these places that say how much time. Everybody on Earth in that whole region is on one of these phones. They're exposed to this horrible stuff, even the spread of the bad stuff, the Taliban. And you see when they're indoctrinating these little kids to become so full of hate, right, and become a problem. They're using all of this electronic stuff. Kids didn't see looped videos of this stuff before. It wasn't that easy to cause a person's, you know what I mean? They're shaping these people. And it's damaging.
Yeah.
It's damaging.
Radicalizing. That's what they call it. Radicalizing, right? It's just whichever way it goes, whether it's on this side or on that side. It's just
it's radicalized no matter which side it's on.
Yeah. It's manipulating the young.
Most people on my side don't think for themselves. Right? How many right-wingers do you know that think for themselves? There's not a whole lot of us that will think outside the box. Whatever the Fox media beams out.
Yeah.
Right. And you can, same with the left of the MSNBC. They don't take the time.
Same fucking thing.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Like the other day, I watched the program. Oh my God, I cringed. I was watching a video again on YouTube or whatever. I was watching a video, and there was this reporter. There was a demonstration going on. Right? There was a huge demonstration going on, a pro-Palestinian demonstration. Right? And this reporter was going around for different demonstrators, let's say, asking them questions, and went up to this one lady with this one girl, maybe about 22, 23, 24 years old, passionately waving a Palestinian flag. And the reporter went up to her and said, so where do you think, if you're saying, Palestinian, and she was saying, oh yeah, from the river to the sea, and all the shit that you hear, she was saying. And then the reporter went up to her and said, so what do you think the Jews should go? Like literally, he had, and the person the person demonstrating turned around and just ran off.
Yeah, they don't know.
Ran away. She had nothing. She was just there for the clicks, for the view, for the post, for all of those things. Had not even a moment of thought as to what it is what am I doing here? Right?
They don't know. They don't know their causes.
What am I standing for? No idea.
Yeah.
They have
They just want to be a part of a cause. They don't know what the cause is. Yep.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Yeah. She had no idea, and if they had informed themselves a little bit more before going there, it's like, look, really, what happened? That was a question that you just brought up. I don't know, man. I don't know. To be honest with you, I don't think Uganda is an option. They were really looking at it, but I don't think that's the case. I think they should stay right where they're at. That's what I think. You're there, you stay there, and that's it. And you figure out one law. Right?
One law,
and
one
the
nation.
Other option, if there was by chance to be a two-state solution, right? Even if by chance the Arabs agreed to a two-state, because the Arabs are the issues. They're like, no, hell with that. I don't want a two-state solution. I wouldn't either, right? If someone came to my house and said, oh, by the way, I know you live here now, right? But I'm going to move into your garage, and I'm going to set up camp over there, and I'm going to live there, and I think you should share your house with me. I'm going to come into the kitchen once in a while, and I'm going to cook, and what would I say? I'll say, fuck that. No, man, I live here now.
You know, it's really funny. What's really funny that you have to acknowledge is how sparsely, for either side to claim it, right? Because the reality is it was very sparsely populated, right? And now not only do you have Zionist Jews moving in, you have these huge migrant Arab populations moving in. So they're all claiming it was their grandfather's backyard. They're all full of shit on both sides, right? I mean, it was not a heavily populated area on either side, right?
It wasn't. It's desert, man. And there was a bunch of nomads for the little bit that they were. They were just moving around doing their thing. But, I mean, in either case, though, right? It's the two-state solution is I think I wrote that on your page, or somebody's page. I'm like, what? Why do we even consider that is an acceptable? Like, we say, oh, the Israel or the Arabs don't want a two-state solution. Why do we even say that that's a good thing? Why is that fair? If there was going
to be a two-state, it would have to be two equal land masses, not the Gaza Strip. And the
West Bank, and then
it would have to be an equally divided area.
Right.
A single state solution.
There's a long way. I think a single state's the way to go.
Yeah.
Yep.
No,
that's the way to go.
No, that's the common sense.
Way.
Common sense.
There's no way that's going to happen. There's no way that it's going to happen.
I don't think either side.
Hell.
I don't think either side would allow it not to be a theocracy. Do you?
Precisely.
Where in the Arab? Well,
of course.
In the Arab world, no, because they're either monarchies.
It's Islamic, right? It's got to be an Islamic state. It's Islamic government, right?
So
they're not going to take it.
Not going to be a solution.
No, there isn't going to be a solution.
It's never going to get any better.
Believe that.
No.
It's not, and the thing that the poor Israelis, the poor Jews, the thing that they wanted to have a state of peace and calm and tranquility, they'll never have that.
Not there. Yeah, not there.
Not there, man.
No.
Not there. It's just that no matter what you do, you will not live in peace. These people will blow themselves up.
Oh,
right? Suicide bombing started. I mean, the quote unquote the standardized suicide bombing started there. Right? These people saying I have no other recourse except to blow myself up. I have no guns. I have no, that's where it all started, to resist.
It's terrible.
And these people they're not going to stop. They will not stop until the very last of them. I mean, they're like treating them like rats. They're flooding those tunnels with water. You saw that? Just the crazy.
Yeah, they were pumping seawater in, right?
They're flooding. They're pumping seawater into those tunnels to flush them out. It's exactly what you do with rats. I mean, literally, that's the exact same thing. You just flush it into the ground, and these things just come out, and you shoot them on sight. But what it does to the ground is another issue, right? That's salt water. And
some of those tunnels are amazing feats of architecture. You see some of them?
Aren't they? Yes. This used to be the lifeblood. I mean, these, but Rich, they weren't made for war. You know that, right? These were not made as war things. They were actual tunnels that connected them to Egypt and to other countries, and they could actually get supplies in because of the blockade. I posted an article about this lady who was talking about as a child. She went through one of these tunnels to travel because they can't travel. They can't travel on the road. So they had, they had family in other places. They needed to go. They would use these tunnels and they would bring goods, right? And over years, they built this thing up into this situation. And then when the war happened, they're like, hey, the tunnels are here. Let's use them. I'm not saying that they were only used for that. Absolutely, they were used for nefarious purposes.
Yeah.
But the cause that they came up with, the reason they came into existence, was not warfare. That was not warfare. It was survival. I posted something about that as well. I read
I'll have
into
to look for that. I didn't see it.
They were some of these. You're right, man. These tunnels are like feats of engineering and years of work. Dude, the article said that there were tunnels that you could drive a car through.
Well, that's what I'm referring to. I saw some. There were like the Holland Tunnel, for God's sake.
VIP tunnels. Exactly. There were VIP tunnels, right? That you would pay top dollar to go do whatever that would mean. This is not the stuff that was made for warfare, by any stretch of the imagination. This was their survival. Blockade. They've been living under blockade for decades, bro. Decades.
Oh, absolutely.
They control. Israel controls everything that goes in and out of that place. Everything that goes in and out of that place, Israel controls. Other than what they can sneak in through these tunnels.
Well, I mean, it's funny because when you look at it, like we're talking about it from this perspective, right? But if you back out human level and look at an Israeli citizen who's born there, knows no other place on earth, right? Knows no other life.
No.
That's their nation. That's their home.
That's it.
And somebody's rolling in trying to blow them up. Yeah. So you have to be empathetic to that human being's viewpoint.
I do not blame them one bit. It's not their doing, man. Their parents ended up being there. I was born here. And both sides grew up with hate. Both sides.
The 40s. Yeah, since the 40s.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Both sides grew up with hate. Like these kids right now, these kids that are going up in Gaza, just being moved from... What's gonna happen to them? They're gonna grow up to be teenagers. They're gonna grow up to be adults, and they're gonna become fucking Hamas members.
Some people will Some people will become very kind people because of what they went through, and some people are going to become savage because of what they've been through.
Honestly, do you think anyone's going to become calmer and more forgiving towards their enemies?
I think that there are people that go through these horrible experiences in life. And it shapes them and it makes them more human. There are some people. So there are people that are going to come out on that side, right?
But odds are, I would call it, looking at the track record of how it has turned out for the past 70 years.
It's going to make some bad, angry people. Yeah, it's going to make some more angry people.
And the only solution to this is through those kids on both sides. The only solution is through those kids on either side, that they get fed up with this, right? That the kids, that the children growing up, like the Jews, the little young university Jews here, right, that are protesting, saying, not in my name. And I've seen a lot. They're saying, not in my name. Don't be doing this shit under my name. I don't want to have anything to do with this. It's that generation, not Netanyahu's. As long as that man is alive, the hope of any kind of a solution, one state or two state solution, is out the window. That man has made it a life of his life's goal to eliminate the option of Palestine.
Oh yeah. Well, you'd have to work. You would have to find a way to educate the children on both sides in their younger years.
Absolutely.
In their younger years, because guaranteed both sides are just pumping their heads full of indoctrination.
I have no doubt of that, man. Dude, it takes a lot for a person to do some of the shit that they did to those poor festival goers. I mean, I think I was reading some of that shit. Like, what kind of a fucked up mind does that? Like, what does it take for a human being to commit those acts?
Yeah, because to me,
like I was reading shit about tying people and setting them on fire. Yeah. Just insane.
You put people of my mindset right here. Say something were to go on in this country, right? Yeah. The first thing I'm going to do is get everybody I care about to safety. And there's a good chance I'm going to die fighting to keep them safe, right? That's the neighbors, the old ladies down the street. I'm going to protect them. Yeah. And then I'm going to go find the guy that's wearing a uniform, and I'm going right for him. And I have a hard time with any other mindset than that. I'm okay
Rightfully
with somebody saying, you're taking what's mine, you know?
Rightfully so, man.
You fight
your
like
mindset is the right mindset. Yeah, exactly. I agree.
You fight like a man.
I fucking wholeheartedly agree. And
that's not only the Arab world that does that. The British were savages like that. They were savages like that here. They were savages like that in Iran.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah. That's exactly what I was going to say. That was the point that I was. And even let's not even go to the British. Let's remember right here. We committed some crazy shit ourselves, right? Just not as outwardly and as blatantly, but little tidbits of here and there.
Under direction.
Never under direction. Of course not. Right. Never under, never authorized, never under direction, because this is it's like a sane environment, right?
Yeah.
But those bad apples that you talk about do pop up.
You have people that thrive in the combat environment because there's something wrong with them.
Yeah.
You know? You can fight and be passionate and be willing to lay your life down. That's completely different than somebody with a bloodlust that just wants to take a life.
Yeah.
Different animal. And we have them. We've had them throughout history, right?
Yeah. It's sad, dude. It's sad. It's a state of things. I mean, it's part of you thinks about, is it a natural progress? Is this what needs to happen? Like I was talking to somebody else about, the voting and the elections coming up and all that, and, Nikki Haley, and Trump, and the fact that I honestly believe that unless someone else comes into the race for the Democrats, I think Trump is going to win it. Right? Trump is going to win it. And,
I don't know.
What do you think?
I think you're going to get, which I'm horrified by, but I think your guy's going to come in. I think your governor, Newsom.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I was thinking. From my perspective,
he's the devil incarnate to me. You know?
Yeah.
And I don't, I like, of all of them, like, I was a Trump guy. I've told you that, right? I was a Trump guy. Yeah, I still think he did a lot of good in his term.
Yeah.
But I don't want another octogenarian in again. He had his 4 years. You lost. Move on. Right? I mean, he's done. I like that Vivek. I like him. He's another guy that's not part of the system. You told me that last time.
Yeah.
He's a businessman, and I like somebody with an outside perspective that's not. He's got so much money, nobody's going to buy him. All of these other people are purchased. They're bought and sold. Doesn't matter right or left.
Yeah.
I want somebody to go in there like a wrecking ball and really set it the way it should be. Because we're in danger. We're really, we're watching our justice system be weaponized. It's horrible.
Speaking of danger, man, I was reading about the possibility of civil war. They're talking about the possibility of civil war, bro. My mouth dropped to the fucking that I was actually reading about that, and how like look, in any case of a revolution or civil war or any overthrow of any government, in any way, the number one thing that you need in order to secure that is the help of the military, the force, whatever that force may be, right? Whether it's the police force or whether it's the military, right? Now, in this case, we're assuming that the military is going to be on the side of the government, right? The military is on. So then you have the militia, you have the not government people, right? The oath keepers, the 3%ers, all of these people, right? It's going to be them versus the government. And the thing that they were saying is that a lot of the law enforcement, local law enforcement, they have affiliations with these militia groups. You see what I'm saying? So it's like the law enforcement will be the authority of the resistance versus the military in this kind of a scenario. You see, because there is no way, we were talking about this last time, Richard. Let me know if you want to say something. I don't want to go on a rant here.
No, go ahead.
We were talking about this, we were going to talk about this or we did talk about it a little bit, that there is really no chance, no hope. This whole idea of the Second Amendment, we were talking about that, like, being able to defend yourself against tyranny. You can't. You personally, as a human being, will not be able to do that.
You need a community.
We talked about it last time too.
Yeah, you need a community.
You need a force.
You need a force.
Even a community, even a force needs to have some sort of a cohesion, something. And a lot of times, military acts as that. So every time you see a coup, d'etat, right? There's like there's a politician stands up, no, I want this, that, the other thing. And the only reason they stay in power is because the military backs them up. That happened in my country. Exactly that way. Right? That when the military says, honestly, I got your back. Yeah. Go ahead.
That can't happen here. Because, listen, I was in National Guard 21 years, right? Yeah. And I served alongside guys that just came out of the Marines. I cross-trained with 10th Mountain Division. I cross-trained. We had one of the SEAL teams because I was a mortarman. So there were a couple times we got to run ALU missions for them for their training. So I got to meet all these people. And the political views of the fighting men and women of this country are the whole spectrum. The whole spectrum. There's a lot of people that think like me, but there's a lot of people in there that don't think like me. And the one thing that goes without saying is I trust, I'd say 90% of the people that I served with, we did not have an opinion on a politician.
Understood.
Because we gave that up. You give that up.
I completely, the true military person. Yeah.
Yeah, the only time I could see our military acting was if one of these presidents, doesn't matter which side it is, were to actually try to like instate troop, not for a pandemic where nobody knew what was going on, but if they ever tried to instate martial law and violate the Constitution, you'd see the military rise up against that individual. The fighting people of our country, I don't think we're in danger of a civil war. I think we're in danger of a bit of anarchy among the citizenship because you have these.
Now let's look at this scenario. I wouldn't doubt one bit what you said. I agree with you wholeheartedly. I believe that. I've known a couple of people, namely yourself, in the military, and I know, the person who truly believes enough in that system to join the military, to be willing to put their life on the line, I have no doubt trusting them. No problem.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about the other side, right? Yeah, because a lot of these oath keepers and stuff, they are also military people, right? They are also. I mean, they have affiliations, right? Whether there's this or what.
Do you know what the Oath Keepers
and
does?
Also, yeah. What did they?
All they swore was an oath that they would honor their oath that they took when they're sworn in. Because I took the same oath when I was sworn into the military that I took when I was sworn into my law enforcement position.
Right.
And all it says that I would uphold and defend the Constitution.
Yeah, of course.
And I would not honor an illegal order. That's really all that they are. They're getting demonized, and I'm certainly not a member of the Oath Keepers, but I saw their Constitution.
Understand. Yeah.
I don't think they're this bad group of people that they're being portrayed to be. I think it's a scare tactic. I think Antifa is psychotic, but I'm not so sure about the other side. Like the Proud Boys, I don't know where I stand on them because I couldn't figure them out. It seemed like it was a racially diverse group, and they were trying to call it white supremacy, and I'm going, they're not all white. The two guys that started it weren't white. How is it a white supremacist group? And they did stupid shit that we did in college.
Right.
Yeah, right. I mean, you heard the one thing was you had to name 5 cereals while you were getting punched by 15 guys in the dark, right? So I don't know how they got turned into a white supremacy group like the Klan. I was like, what the fuck? What's anybody talking about? But they're sitting in prison, right? They must have done something. But
yeah.
But how come, Ben?
Yeah, so
they can find. Why can they find these people? Why can they find the leadership of the Proud Boys and put them in prison? Why can they find the guys on the Oath Keeper? They're demonized, all under the Biden administration, right? But we had all this chaos. They burned cities. They chained police stations closed. They lit them on fire. They flew the Antifa flag. Not one arrest of an Antifa leader. How is that possible?
That is pretty fucked up. Yeah.
If there's justice, how is that possible? Right?
Yeah.
So they're trying to start something. I think. I don't think it'll ever take.
What do you?
But I think
is that what you're? Is that what you attribute that to?
Yeah, I think Antifa is probably portions of it are government backed or at least directed. Right? They're funneling funds to them because you see these morons show up with rifles that I don't, and I'm a gun guy, and I'm looking at some of the hardware that they're carrying. They're wearing $6,000 vests, $1,200, shorty fast helmets, and $2,500 worth of rifle. These people don't have that kind of cash laying around to arm themselves with that. Where's that equipment coming from? And they certainly don't have the training, right, to back it up. They're smoking pot in their mom's basement for the last 12 years, watching video games, and now all of a sudden they're armed to the teeth like Matt Damon in one of his spy movies. It's crazy. It's crazy. I think some part of the powers that be is trying to cause the hatred to inflame, and I don't think we're wired to hate each other enough.
There's
for
profit
there ever
in
to be
conflict.
that kind of divide.
Yeah.
There's a ton of profit in conflict.
Yeah. We're just, I mean, the more we understand that, you should worry about it. I worry about it too, right? And it all comes down to one again, right? We said this last time, that you and I both want the same thing for the world, right? We want the same thing for our family, same thing for our friends. We want the exact same thing. We just have a different way to go about it, right? We think that the remedy is a little bit different. And in my opinion, a lot of the issues that we're facing comes down to the system of government that we have, right? What kind of a government? This freedom, right? The freedoms that we have come at a cost. All the freedoms, every one of them, freedom to carry a gun, freedom, to all possess this, and freedom of speech, right? That
dangerous liberty
at a cost, and yes, exactly. And are we willing to pay the cost? Are we willing to pay the price? And to what degree? Right? This dude Ted Nugent comes to mind. Who did you mention his name just now? Ted Nugent?
Uncle Ted?
You did? No. Uncle Ted, dude.
Uncle Ted.
The more I look at him, it's weird. I mean, can't take the man seriously, but at the same time, you should. He's
a free spirit, that's for sure.
Just what he is, a fucking free spirit and a half, man. And yeah, I don't know what got me on him.
Well, what do you think about him? What do you think about him?
Dude, I think that he makes a lot of fucking sense. He makes a lot of sense, and he's living what he preaches. Right? That would be very simply, but he's off his
and
fucking
maniacal.
Filter. There's no doubt about that, right?
And not an ounce of alcohol and not a drug ever. Totally clean.
Yeah.
Rock and roll.
Yeah.
And crazy guy, Hunter, beautiful wife,
just insane
out there, just living it. Just literally insane. Yep.
God love him, Ted Nugent.
I love him.
I never knew Ted Nugent.
I want to go pig hunt
as a musician. Wow, that looks so much fun, man. With a Gatling gun and a helicopter.
I went with my son to Texas last March, and we just out of blinds, out of elevated blinds. It was a blast. It was a great time. Came home with 600 pounds of pork. It was wonderful.
Wow. Yeah. It's amazing. I mean, you would think that we had. I mean, if there was a process, then this could help feed the hunger issue, right? You would think that if someone would say, look, this is a process, like someone said that, like, I'm going to take a helicopter, I'm going to charge people to go shoot these pigs, right? But what if someone said, look, I'm going to get a helicopter, I'm going to take you around, shoot these pigs, but I get to keep the pig, right? You just get to shoot it. And then that person takes that pig and puts it into a process to sort of be of some use and then increase the number. So then,
I'm sure there is something like that. I haven't looked into it, but I would think there is. In out here in Pennsylvania, we feed the homeless with excess deer. The Game Commission.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, that might exist. You guys, and we could make $1 million if we start a business like that out in Texas. Because if it's not there yet, that's a good business idea.
You know what I'm saying?
Easily.
And then maybe we don't do helicopters. Maybe but just shoot them and keep them, and then put them in the process and make spam out of them or some shit. I don't know.
You have no idea the overpopulation. Where I was in just outside of San Antonio, 250 to 300 pigs at a time would just come by in like a mass of oinks rolling by it. It was amazing, and they just destroy everything.
But they're dangerous too, right? They like attack. They're like aggressive, and they attack people,
they don't really.
Right?
They can. No? They can. Well, these aren't Russian boar. These are feral hogs. And if you release a pig from a farm,
they're not the ones that have the tusks. They don't have the ones that are.
They develop tusks about that long, but they don't have that Russian upward tusk that you see. Like it's a different animal. Yeah. But the mob used to dump bodies in the pig pens because they leave nothing behind. They eat everything. They'll destroy farmland, like destroy everything. They root it up. They dig so deep with their noses to get the tubules and stuff that they're very destructive. But overrun like nothing you've ever seen.
That's a business idea right there. I mean, you would think.
You know who said that? One of our
it would be
Richie.
You could make money on both ends.
Richie McFarland said that. McFarland.
You make money on both ends. There you go.
Absolutely.
Kill that fucking pig.
And you could donate that too. Start a whole new charity based on the Second Amendment. I'm in.
The whole new.
Oh, hold it.
Yeah.
Had to cough. Sorry.
So, did you? We should have Celeste on one day. We should have him come on.
I would like to have. I would like to have Dave Celeste on here.
Yeah.
He's the most neutral man on earth.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a couple guys I would like. Richie McFarlane would come in a heartbeat. And then a couple of police officers. Yeah.
That's
So what else? What else do we want to get into?
I want to look into that. Yeah.
What else can we discuss?
What else can we got a big one, man. We got the big one about you and your switch, your contemplated shift in godly orientation.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had to phrase it properly. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I have. I've started to trend more towards. I'll say almost like born again Christianity or Protestant Christianity, because the Pope is starting to make statements that I find don't follow the religious tenets. And on top of that, I run into a little conflict with the Christian churches that I delve into too, because I've studied the Bible for a long time. I had the benefit of doing Catholic school from 2nd grade through 12th grade, so theology class every day. I've read every version of the Bible cover to cover that I could get my hands on. So I've got a lot of determinations that I've come to for myself, and I have a real problem with how much judgment I see. Like, I don't think we're supposed to be like that. I don't, and that's an issue that I'm having right now, because they want me to get the one church that I love everybody in the community, but they want me to be baptized because they told me that my baptism doesn't count because it was Catholic. And it struck me, and we started talking. And
I'm sorry, I don't mean to laugh. I'm sorry.
It is. Sorry. No, it's comical. It's not. It's laughable, because I look at it and I don't know what book all these people are reading, because when I read it, it's a beautiful story, right? I can go all the way back to Abraham being told to kill his son, right? And being told stop. And there's a ram, a full-grown ram in the bush, right? And God did it. And now you go fast forward, and now it's God's son, and it's, instead of sacrificing the lamb, Christ is the ram, the full-grown ram that was in that bush. This is God saying to Father human, I'm Father God. I love you so much, I'm going to sacrifice my son, but I'll never ask you to do that. That's the statement that it tells me. I'll never ask you, and I'm doing it. And then you go forward, you listen to the way Christ spoke. He died for everyone else. He didn't say, I died so that somebody else can make all these rules for you to follow. He didn't say that I died because he said, by our knowledge that he saved us, that joy should let other people know, well, what did you do? Well, I didn't do anything. I'm a piece of shit, and I couldn't do anything to save myself. But God loves me so much that he became human and allowed that human part of him to be his child, which is beyond my comprehension, but I get the concept, right? And sacrifice that to show me love. So I don't have to do anything. And I'm certainly not going to sit there and pass judgment on somebody else because they believe differently than me. As far as I know, from what he said, I believe everybody's saved by the crucifixion. That doesn't mean that they have to believe like I do. It's because God's compassionate and said, I saved everybody already. So what's with all these rules and condemnation and fear? That's not bringing people to the same belief I have. I'm happy and I'm relieved, because it's like I am with my son. He can do something completely stupid, and no matter what, I love him, right? So I feel like that's the simple statement, right? So that's what I'm trying to find. I'm trying to find somewhere where people accept that, where we don't have to be mean. We don't have to condemn other people. I don't know why they're like they are, but it's not my place to worry about what's going on between them and God. That's just between me and God. And I'm good. You know what I mean? So that's
I get it.
My turns that I've taken.
So I've been listening intently, trying to listen for the word Jesus in what you say. Right? You didn't really necessarily say that. right? I don't recall you even using the word Jesus one time.
I said Christ.
You mentioned Christ, right? And
Christ.
And God, in terms of God, is that like how you? Are you seeing them both the same?
Believe
it's the thing. It's a three names, one entity. Is that the way? Yes. Okay. All
one
right.
entity.
Understood.
Yes.
Understood.
Like
that was the thing
Trinity.
that I was trying to get.
I can't explain it. Yeah. Yep.
Understood. But isn't that a Catholic thing? I don't know.
It's across all of Christianity. No, that's across all of Christianity.
Is it?
Yeah. Yeah, the Trinity is all Christians. Yeah. And it's one of those things. It's kind of like the Catholic belief in the transubstantiation. There's all degrees of understanding. Like there's the Catholics hold Holy Communion as if it's the actual physical flesh and blood of Christ, where the Protestant Church views it as symbolic. So they don't like the Catholic Church has a thing in the sacristy where it's disposed of a certain.
Understood. So they view it the same, but they're within their system. It's treated differently. Like it's handled differently, right? So it seems like because Protestants, I guess it might be in prayer, right? Am I correct? Like when you
it's more spiritual.
That's like that's the symbol.
This is Catholic. Yeah, this is Catholic.
So that right. See, I'm trying to like still put it on. I actually have begun to dig a little deeper into Christianity, like reading the Bible and specific things. Like it's not that I'm starting to read it from cover to cover, but going after specific things in there, right? Specific books, specific verses, and again, I lost track of time. What were we talking about before
What's
this?
that?
Oh, about the Trinity. That's right.
The Trinity.
Yeah. I lost my train of thought. Completely lost.
Well, it's okay. I mean, the Trinity is a difficult concept, and it doesn't really. It doesn't. It's important to me, but it's not important. It's God. I'm only a human being, and I don't have to define God. You know what I mean?
So I think initially when I was the personification of it, I think it's the part that I was trying to arrive at, I guess, right? God being the Trinity, being the three parts, being the spirit, one thing, but then the human side of it, the person, how attached or how significant is that in your system of belief? Because you know what I'm saying?
It's like tantamount. It's tantamount to my belief.
Go ahead. Okay.
It's because so I just heard there's a guy John Lovell, Warrior Poet Society, and he just gave a sermon, and in the sermon he broke down a few like core tenets I'd never heard put this way before. He talked about the concept of sin and salvation of man. That he said, well, first off, you have to understand that all things, all definitions, physics, everything comes from God, right? All the rules come from God. So good is God. The total concept of goodness and righteousness is God, perfection. So anything that we do is imperfect. So there's no way that you could ever be anything, but you lusted after somebody probably by the time you were 8 years old, or you took a stick of gum. And when you look at the level of perfection that a creator would be, right? Think of how horrible that simple sin would be. How you know what I mean? It's immense because it's just pure evil. It's pure bad. So now you tie the importance of, like, the crucifixion was, he had to become man to experience what we are. So you take the God mind, right? The God perception, right? This all-knowing being. And we're his creation. He actually lowers himself in our belief enough to become one of us, to allow part of his being, part of his intellect, to inhabit a flesh and blood body, to feel the pain,
to influence,
to feel the desires, right? And then to suffer
what?
through the most horrific death. Go ahead. So what?
No. I'm listening. I'm listening. It's sad that we got a little bit of a delay, but I'm totally listening. Go ahead.
Yeah.
To what end?
So,
My question was to what end? To what end?
Well, you take what I've come to believe in just on my own. This isn't from anybody else. You take there's no way we're his creation because he wanted us, right? He wanted the companionship. He wanted thinking beings. I don't see something that vast wanting pets, right? He wanted thinking beings. It gave us this inborn ability to see right and wrong, this ability to create things, to become more intelligent. And now you have to take it back to the roots. When he first created us, that mind had to evolve, right? So their concept of the world and sacrificing to God in relation was sacrificing an animal. So why did they sacrifice an animal? Well, it was a life force, and it was their food, right? It was the most important thing to them. So they would take this animal that was not easy to come by, split it in half, and burn it, and make this blood sacrifice, this smoke, and because they were cavemen, right? So you have these early. So I think that the whole concept, all the way through to where he allowed himself to be this, where we have to suffer to be forgiven. I think it all has to do with him relating to us as we developed, as our minds and our intellect developed. And he knew that we had this because we were so intelligent, and because the mind was growing that it was. We have these natural instincts to conquer, right? To rule, to fight, to claw your way to the top. If you didn't have that, man would never get any further, right? So that drives us forward. And I think it culminated in that. And that last thing that they said was, there never has to be another sacrifice, never another animal sacrifice, never another human sacrifice, right? So I think he led us to a point where we're supposed to evolve beyond the violence eventually, right? We're supposed to get past all of this stuff. That's
and what does that what does that entail?
I don't know.
Getting past.
I don't think we're done cooking. I think humans. I think eventually we'll. What do you say, right? You say you want you have your visions of communism, right? That communism could work, or that type of no ownership, everybody living in peace and taking care of each other. Maybe someday. Maybe it won't get there until what you see in Revelations, where the world ends and he comes back and takes us there. Maybe we need his leadership. Or maybe the goal is for man to eventually get there. Maybe the world will be that peaceful someday. I don't know. But I think we're supposed to take that comfort, and I think if people were sharing that happiness, that they're forgiven, that they're worth something, right? They're obviously worth something. That would spread. I think that was the whole purpose in Christianity, was supposed to make people feel worth something, to make them feel loved, not dominate, not to go around boiling natives and saying, you have to believe this way, I'm going to put you in a brass box with nails in it and light a fire underneath it until you submit. I think that's...
Dude, they killed a lot of people. I mean, those people
They killed a lot of people.
They killed a lot of people, man, in the name of God, in the name of Jesus, all of that. No, yeah.
And how do you justify ever? How do you ever justify killing in the name of God? How?
It just makes no sense. Makes no sense.
None at all.
What kind of a God, now, tying back to the same, I guess, the earlier question about how intrinsic is the physical manifestation of Christ to your system of belief, right? And you said it's paramount, right? Absolutely.
Yeah.
And tying back into the progression that we talked about, that like you learn, you move forward, it's a transitional situation, right? You were saying that there's growth. It starts from small, and God slowly like leads you on and teaches you things, and you through the whole process of living, and then you grow, right? So the same thing, thinking, would it apply to Jesus as a whole, to Christ as a whole, meaning that him being a step along a transition of growth, right? Meaning that he did what he did, right? Came, was here, took us to the next step, and he went away, and now the next thing begins, right? And it's so the next step. So the Baha'is believe in this concept called progressive revelation, right? Progressive revelation, and they believe in every single one of the prophets, starting from Abraham, going all the way down. I think it's a total of like 13 of them. Buddha and all like Krishna and all of those just going through, and then including Jesus, including Moses, including Muhammad, right? And now they say that progressive revelation has led us here, that all of those other things that we experienced, including Jesus Christ, including Muhammad, were all steps along the journey of human development, human spiritual development, that each one of them was appropriate for its time and its place, right? And then the next thing came up, and it was appropriate for its time and its place. And now the next thing is here, right? And they, in reality, even though like every time you go back one, right, like Christianity was based on Judaism, right? And then Islam, to some extent, was based on Christianity, right? There's elements to it. And in the same notion, Baha'is is completely based on Islam, right? But it's the next step, right? That basically takes all the good, right? All the good, and strips away all the bad, right? This is the easy way that I could do it. There's no inequality between men and women, right? All of that, women don't have to cover their hair, like all of those things that you say to yourself, Islam is so screwed up because of that. It takes it all away, and it becomes truly an accepting kind of equal. They don't have a prophet. They don't have any religious figures. No priests. No mullahs. They say that the relationship between a human being and God is direct. It doesn't require any other in between, right? It's sort of like the next thing, right? And that's the thought that that came to my mind when you said that there's obviously the path that you've taken, the spiritual path that you've been on, has left you less than fulfilled, right? That you're saying for some reason these guys are not doing the right thing, and again, I thought about how closely is Jesus involved here, right? Is the possibility even there for you to consider that, okay, now maybe I can look at this in a different way? How intrinsic is Jesus to your system of spiritual belief? Or could it be another, right? Or could it be another source? What if Jesus was the energy of, yes?
I believe Jesus Christ is God. Same thing. Like I believe
incarnation
in prophets. An incarnation of God himself. Right. Yeah, I believe he is God himself.
Right.
And so it's he's the core of everything for me.
Understood.
Honestly, yeah, I believe with my whole heart that he's God.
I totally, I completely understand. And so, has there ever been any other incarnations? Has God ever done anything of the sort? No, this is the only one.
I believe in prophets. He's the only. I believe he's the only time. Well, you know what? I, to my knowledge, I can't explain. Right. Like my wife Monica is she's a Jain, so she's of the Dharmic faith, and I've had a little bit of exposure to that. and I've gone to her mom and dad's temple a couple times just to experience it and see what it is. And they believe in it's multi-theistic.
Right.
There's a lot of belief in they call them ascended beings. So
Ascended
people
masters.
there's I think there's 12 people that lived exemplary lives of kindness, and that they have a lot that they believe were raised directly to nirvana, right? So they're gods, the way my father-in-law explained it to me, gods with a little g. And my issue that I can't explain, and I'm always open to trying to understand. Like I said, I believe Jesus Christ is God, no questions asked. But he's all-knowing, he's all-powerful. He made the whole world, he made the whole universe. I can't see him holding a globe and going, I'm only going to talk to you. So I can't explain that. That's why I say I don't sit past judgment and tell them you're wrong. My in-laws are two of the kindest people I've ever met in my life. My mother-in-law won't step on the grass if she can avoid it, so that she doesn't kill something. I mean, total peace. Total peace. I
love that.
So
I fucking love
that. I can't explain it, but I see God in a lot of the food laws and things like that sustained life around the world. That it almost seems like, well, he made it and he knows what's plentiful there, and he's not going to take a place like India where you can't farm raise animals to feed the population and tell them to eat meat. So you have this massive amount of vegetarians in it, and it seems directed by a higher power. So I can't explain it. I could say to me, Jesus Christ is the pinnacle of everything.
Yeah.
And I believe he saved everybody, even the Jains, even though they don't believe it. But I still believe he saved them. And I think when we get there and we're all dead, they go, hey, there he is, you were right. But I cannot explain the interactions that I see in other parts of the world. And I can't understand why God wouldn't speak to those individuals. I just feel that he's revealed to me through Christ, I guess is the best way to say it.
Right. Yeah.
Right?
Perfect. Yeah. We all have our own path, man. We're all going to the same place. Everyone's looking at the same thing, and they're calling it different things. Yeah, it's like,
That's another thing that I've
there's
heard,
only one God.
I've heard said.
Huh?
I've heard it said in some of the Christian churches that I've stuck my toe in the water, and they go, well, not everyone is called. And I'm like, well, what do you mean? Well, that person might not accept Jesus because, well, they're just not called. Like, what,
gotcha.
they're an
Is that
extra?
What they call it?
They're an extra?
They're an extra.
I don't get that. I don't understand that concept.
God
is perfection. Yeah, God is perfection to me, so he doesn't make a mistake. So I don't claim to have all the answers. Where are you at in it? Because you're agnostic right now.
No, yes, I'm absolutely. I'm avid God. I believe in God absolutely. I completely all of that, but I'm not. I go to church on Sundays. Like this morning, I was in church, right? So I go and I read up religions, Islam, this, that, but I don't have a religion that I would follow. I do believe in God entirely, absolutely, right? As the first cause of all things, and all of those things. And I believe in Jesus Christ, and I believe in Muhammad and Buddha. I believe that entirely that those were godly. Let's put it that way: godly beings.
Okay.
Right? Not. God is not. I mean, the way that I see it, God manifests in different ways. Right? Mm-hmm. It's God is all. Is not a being outside of me. I am as much of a part of God as you are, right? So it's all of it together and the way that the machine and the system runs, right? It's just a manifestation of God. That which it produces is the manifestation of God. It is his will, right? That's the thing. Its will, I should say, her will. So that's and accepting and understanding that, I think that's been the difficult part, right? And to appreciate the fact that something like that does exist, but there is absolutely no way that your mind could wrap around it. You just need to believe it, right?
Oh, I agree with you there. There's you can't comprehend it. Yeah.
You can't wrap it. Just like you are talking about, about how Jesus or God manifested in Jesus and so on and so forth, and, resurrection and all that, I can't put logic behind the whole entire thing as to why did God even create you? Why does this even exist? I mean, think about that.
Yeah.
We're talking about an omnipotent being. We're talking about an omnipotent being, a being that it has and knows, and there's no limit. Why the fuck would it want to create human beings? Right. What's the point?
In all our grandeur, we couldn't create an ant and make it work. Right? Nothing.
Right. But then
I don't know what the point is.
Yeah. So that's the big question. I have no idea. But I do believe that there's something out there. You see what I'm saying? And that's where the agnosticism comes from, right? I have no fucking idea. I'm clueless. My feeble mind cannot comprehend. But I know that there's something there. Right?
There is. And, I started.
Who got the right answer?
I started following. There's an elderly rabbi on YouTube. I'll send you a link later. And he talks about some of the core beliefs in Judaism that I was completely unaware of. Like, did you know that there's reincarnation in Judaism? True Judaism? They believe that.
No, I did not.
Like when you talk about life, beginning of life, in the old parts of Judaism, they believe that life begins 60 days before conception. Before conception. They believe that God goes to the well of souls and asks the soul, do you want to help me? Do you want to go and
be reincarnated?
Do you want to go and make it better and help me build what I'm building? Yeah. And he allows them time to think about it, and then they're born. And that's one of the core beliefs. And I had no idea. And it's beautiful. Like I said, he has a channel, and he's this really old guy with a scraggly, long white beard, and he just you get lost listening to him because you can just tell there's a lot of knowledge.
I'm gonna look that up, man. I want to find out more about that reincarnation in Judaism.
Yeah, I'll send right after we're done. I'll send you the link. It's pretty neat.
That component of it, and Christianity, of course, believes in that the resurrection, I think, is reincarnation on some other level. But it's a lot of religions, actually, especially those Vedic ones or the Dharmic ones that you were talking about. That the reincarnation is a huge part of that, and that is, I believe in that, right? That even though I don't have a religion, even though I don't have a prescribed religion that I follow, I do have certain guidelines, right? That I structure my world around, right? That the mechanics by which the universe works, and reincarnation is one of them. And I am an avid believer, and to be honest with you. Right, ever since finding out about reincarnation and the purpose of reincarnation, this was not long ago, like maybe 15, maybe less than 20 years ago. Right, this whole concept became revealed to me, and ever since that, my goal has been to hasten my development, so that I don't have to come here. I've said this many other times to people that my goal in this life is to show I could never come back here again. I want to transcend out of here. I got a long way to go to Nirvana, but no, just go to my next fucking stage, whatever that may be, right? Whatever that. No, I got many steps along the way, man. I got a lot of incarnations to go before I can clean my shit up. But no, just I mean, let's be done with this. Let's be done with this layer. Let's be done here.
Yeah,
let's
it's
move
interesting.
On to the next.
It's neat. Like my in-laws, like you can't go to a Jain temple and become Jain, and like they're devout vegetarians, right? But we can go out to dinner and I'll get my steak, and there's no problem with it. Nobody looks at it
No
wrong.
judgment.
And I remember I asked
Yeah.
I asked my mother-in-law one time. I go, "Do you want me not to eat meat?" She goes, "No, it's okay. You're not Jane." She goes, "You're not Jane yet." So to them, you may just be in this life, and they believe, well, when you're ready, you'll be born a Jane. Like, so it's very comforting and kind. It's a unique experience.
It is transcendence, man. It's your next. This is what I'm talking about. The next layer, right? This is they believe that. Yeah. Hey, you're gonna next incarnation, you'll be one of us, and then the one after that, you'll be something else. So she's trying
to structure her life because she wants to come back as a Jain monk in her next life. So this lady has given up. Oh God! Wow! Already they can't eat. They eat no meat, and they eat no vegetable that grows below the soil. Right?
Below soil,
below soil. Yeah. So on top of that, she's given up eggs. She's given, they could eat egg, but that she's given up I think it's 150 different foods just to sacrifice more, because she knows if she comes back as a monk, she's going to have very restricted. She's prepping.
Look at that. That's exactly what I'm fucking talking about, dude. Yep. That's exactly what I'm talking about. When I found out about this, I'm like, man, load it up. And guess what? I said this in church a couple of weeks ago, that ever since I found God, my life has gone to shit. My life is turned upside down. Many people, honestly, find God when they're at their lowest point, right? Like, oh man, everything was wrong and God came into my life and saved me. For me, it was exactly the opposite, bro. I was at the top of my fucking game, but at the top of my game, I said, look, I'm committed to this life to get the maximum out of it. To maximum, so that I learn the most that I need to learn the moment that I found out that this is the point of life, right? And I made a pact. I made a pact with God, and I said, I am here. Take me through the fucking dude. Turned my fucking life upside down. Just wreaked havoc everywhere, right? But in the process, constantly kept on reminding me, you asked for this. You said this. Find your fucking way. Find your way the right way, right? The right way. Keep your flag high. Know what my whole introduction into this whole thing, dude, was very topsy-turvy. You know what I'm saying? My whole introduction to God was chemically induced, right? Like heavily, severely chemically induced, right? And it continued to be that, right? The revelation, my mind became capable of grasping the concept, right? That's what happened. Like I was unable, like all my life, I was unable to even grasp the concept of something like that existing. This, would you believe, would you speak so freely about believing? I couldn't even grasp that. Okay. Right? I mocked it aside. So the chemicals are what allowed my mind to become flexible enough to understand that, to be able to absorb it. And when that revelation came, and it was a revelation, I swear to you, it was a revelation from 1 second to the next. I was sitting down in Toronto. I remember the moment. Just the world turned upside down, and I was in just like an absolute fear and shock, started screaming to the top of my lungs because the awareness of God came in. That all of a sudden I said, holy shit, it's real. Screaming at the top of my lungs, that I ran out. And started walking down the street. I mean, that's how, but then it was so impactful that it sort of settled in over the course of maybe 2 months. I was under the care of a psychiatrist, bro. I actually was in touch with a therapist, and I said to her, I said, look, this is what I'm doing, and this is what I'm thinking. I'm concerned about whether I'm losing my mind, like I was, honestly, because when your reality shifts like that, all my life, God did not exist. All of a sudden, there's this other element that changes everything. It's like switching on the light in a room. It changes everything, right? And that's what was shocking. And I was thinking that I was losing my mind. So I was under the care of that. I would just sit down and talk to her. Look, this is what I'm thinking. These are the thoughts that are going through my mind. And I just want to make sure that I'm not losing my brain. And she's like, no, it's okay. And I told her about the ayahuasca and all of that. And she's like, oh, no, you sound fine. So that's how it all came to be. And then it continued for like 10 years, bro. It just continued regularly.
Really?
I would just go into those spaces. Yeah. And with the understanding right now, I had the understanding. Have
you listened to any of Rogan's podcasts on psychedelics?
That's one of the ones that I actually listened to. Yeah, that's one of the whatever.
Yeah,
I never sit down and listen to shit.
I just listened to it like 3 of his podcasts on psychedelics in the early Christian church, and he was talking about his experience with God through the use of psychedelics, and it was interesting. It was great. It was a great podcast.
I should go look at it.
Yeah, it's a great podcast. He goes, it sounds, that's neat. That's neat. It absolutely sounds like it opens the mind's eye and allows you to see things at a different.
That allows the awareness, bro. That's what I think. And some people don't. I mean, it's not that it hits everybody. They call this group of drugs entheogenics.
Yeah.
Right? It's a specific type of drugs, right? Entheogenics. And their effect is so that it opens the possibility of a new awareness, a new understanding. But I tell you, man, for a good few months after this whole experience, I was on shaky ground.
I bet.
I was on shaky ground. I was on and I was reading. So my whole entire concept of reality went out the window, right? God and all that stuff. God came in, but now I needed a new concept of reality, right? So how does it work? If the work is not the way that I thought, right, which was all just willy-nilly, like this is what I thought. It's just whatever. You live, you die, it's the end of you and finished, and that's the end of it, right? So this is no God. There's everything's right now. Evolution is key. We're conscious because we evolved to be that way. Give enough time to a monkey, it can type away a novel, like on that level. This is what I was thinking. Right? And all that is going out the window. But now that's not the case. But what is it? How do you replace that whole system? How does it work if it doesn't work like that, right? So for a couple of years, right, for a while, I started like reading, absorbing, like getting stuff into my mind as to versions of reality that people had made, right? It's all made up at the end of the day, right? This religion, this Christianity, whatever. So somebody somewhere has written it down, whether it was based on fact or not, right? Somebody somewhere has written it down. Mm-hmm. And the same thing happens to a lot, like all the way from, I was talking about theosophy. I don't know if you've ever heard of that. Spiritism, theosophy. These are all these are beliefs, like deep rooted, like down in the dark kind of, but they're depictions of reality. Like, how does the system work? How does the machine work? This is a machine that we're in, right? It's some call it God, right? But it's a machine. It's you have input and there's output. Whether it's called karma or whether it's called intention or whatever it is, there's input and there's output, and this machine works a specific way, right? And how does that work?
Yeah.
Right? Incarnation, reincarnation being a part of that machine, right? When you die, this happens to you. Horoscopes, right? I Ching, right? All of these different the divinations means that these are all parts of the machine, if you believe in it, right? So I started like absorbing that information. How does the machine work? So why does the I Ching? Like, why do so many people believe in the I Ching or other forms of divination like this? Because these are actual connections between the two spirits, to the two realms. They really are. I really came down to that understanding, is that whoever made the system, this machine, right, this big machine, right, there's two sides. There's this side, there's the spirit side, there's the physical, maybe many, many more, but at least these are the two that I understand, and there's connections between these things, right? And whoever's made this system has made those connections. Right, so that if you go about this, you can find out that, right? And these all different forms, and it's fascinating, right? To create and paint a form of reality, a vision of reality that is just as valid as any, and just as arbitrary as any. You see what I'm saying? It's like,
yeah, no, I do. I
who
get it.
knows? Nobody knows. Who the fuck knows? The only thing that matters is how it conducts. Like the whole thing that you're telling me about Jesus Christ and all that, that's a belief. That's a full, wholehearted belief that it conducts your life, that it brings meaning to your life. That's all that matters.
Right.
That's all that matters. Right? The same thing with this all other stuff. Right? That like, you know, so my whole understanding and awareness and appreciation of that higher energy, it's a lot less rooted in any tangible thing, man. That's the only thing that I can discuss. There's no guideline that I have found that say like the Bible, for example. You know, that's a guideline.
Okay.
The Quran, that's a set of guidelines that say, okay, you do this, you do this. And I haven't been able to find anything that frankly addresses. Yeah, you know, that it's like, oh, this makes sense, right? So it's all bits and pieces of things that relate, that I could say, oh, that I can understand how that could be because I can see the result of it, right? I can see the cause of it, you know. So that's you know, so the same thing with Islam, you know, all that I you know, always talk about it on Facebook and all that. I'm not necessarily a Muslim in any way any more than I am a Christian, but I think they all point to the same thing.
I remember us going to church together. I remember us going to church together when we were kids. In fact, I gave you one of my crosses. I gave you one of my wood crosses when we were in college. Yeah, we went back and forth. Yeah. I remember you got some shit for having it on, too.
I did. I
know you did.
It's like, ooh. No, it's all good though. It's all good. Yeah, it's you know, it's all pointing in the same direction. You know this. You know this as well as I. You know
God about my mom, right?
Tell me.
Have I told?
I know a lot about your mom.
If you look her up, you know a lot about my mom. But if, she's a spiritual medium, and huge, like international. Like teaches classes in the college.
My mouth just dropped. I did not know that.
Teaches.
What?
Yeah, she teaches. Yeah, she teaches at Lilydale. She does. What do you call those things where they have 300 people in a room, and she calls them out like
seances,
like you wouldn't believe.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, she wants. She won't.
Yeah.
She's adamant. She's adamant that she is not a psychic because she said psychics don't exist, but she's a medium and she can speak to the other side.
Guess what, dude? I went away to get something. What? My bedside reading.
What's that? I can't read it. It's all blurry.
The book on mediums. It's called the book on mediums. This is my bedside reading, bro. Ever since, again, this whole transition of understanding that there is another realm. There's another side. Mm-hmm. I believe that. That was one of the first things that I ask people whenever we talk about, like, you know, I should. Just, I would love to hear her take on things, but yeah, does she really? Oh,
absolutely.
I should.
Asked about you, Bear.
I'm going to look her up. What was the? I'm going to look her up.
Just type her name and
give me the name.
Gloria Awakens. Gloria Awakens. No. Just all you have to do is Google that.
Done. You didn't know. Done. So yeah, man, it's I wholeheartedly believe. I believe. What do you think of your mom? Cool. What do you think of what she does? What do you think of what she does?
I can't disprove it. She brings stuff back to people that there's no denying that nobody could know. She pulled it on me with Christopher, my friend that you remember, Chris, when he killed himself. And she brought stuff back that she shouldn't have known that he and I did, that you'd really prefer your mother wouldn't know. and you know, some bad things we did when we were young jackasses, and there's no denying it. I certainly didn't tell her. You know, so she does evidentiary mediumship, and she pulls back specifics. Like she won't charge. I know she does a lot of free stuff for people that have lost children and stuff like that to give them closure. To help with that kind of stuff, and she's big. I'll let you look her up, and then we'll get into it. But I don't have any problem with what she does.
Wow, but how does that fit into your scheme of things? How does that fit?
I don't know. I'm okay with it. I don't. It's one of those things like you hear laws within the church that some pope at some point in time made up that said, "Oh, that's bad. You can't do that." I don't see where God said that you can't do that. I know he said to stay away from. There's certain scripture where he says to stay away from like witches and psychics, but that's not the same thing as someone communicating with just the spirits. Maybe we should bring her on here one time.
That's an awesome thing. Paramahansa Yogananda channeled Jesus Christ and wrote a book, an entire book.
Really?
Badass book about this big. Channeled Jesus Christ.
And that's I gotta look that up.
You have it.
Yeah, I'll have to look that up.
Yeah,
say that.
Yeah. I'll send it to you in the chat. Actually,
yeah, send it to me.
It is Indian monastic and yogi.
Oh, very cool.
Let's see.
We're getting a prompt too, if you didn't notice in the chat there.
We get a prompt. What is a prompt? Oh, hello.
See it?
Whole window went.
It looks like we should be wrapping it up about now.
Is that what we should be in? Okay. I don't even know where my thing went. I lost my.
Whatever. You lost your chat box?
I lost my whole entire freaking. Dude, I got too many windows open. That's what it is. Nope. There. This is an issue. There we go. I found it. Sorry about that. Fuck. All right, okay. So wrapping it up. Yeah, dude, I got lost. I got like windows and tabs and shit everywhere.
That's all right.
So yeah, that's the. Let's wrap it up. What time we got?
Let's wrap it up.
Is that what you said?
We can bring him back in if he wants. Bring him back in and make sure it's uploaded the right way.
He's probably sleeping. Oh no, he's still there. I thought he was sleeping. I thought he was like probably like snoozing in the background.
Yeah. No, I'm really hungry though, and I want to go get some food.
Me
what
too.
Are you gonna eat?
So yeah. So really cool. Yeah. Great job, guys. Awesome commentary. So
wonderful.
If you guys just want to go ahead and hop out, and if it cues you to like say it's still uploading, then just give it a second until you close out of your browser and everything.
Okay.
So if you guys just want to go ahead and get out, and I'll stay on and to make sure that your guys' commentary can upload.
All right. Night,
sounds
Ben.
good.
Night, buddy.
Good night, brother. Take care. Bye, Dalek.
Right, guys.
Where are you gonna eat,
Thanks, Dalek?
Where are you gonna eat?
Oh, I don't know. I gotta look around. I got food here and there, but
okay.
Yeah,
right. Well, if you're hungry,
I just go
give me a call.
Snack and get back on the printer.
Sounds good. Good night,
buddy.
Hey,
you, Ben. Okay, good night.